about the inner meaning of Ezekiel's vision, Cheskel's vision about the impending siege upon Jerusalem, and why Hashem used iron as the sign of the siege. It wasn't, on the surface, the reason is that iron wasn't only the emblematic of the iron wall that you can't leave Jerusalem, you can't go into Jerusalem, but iron is also representative of the destruction of the temple. Why? Because the Talmud says that the reason why you can't use iron in the temple is because iron is used to shorten man's life, and the altar is meant to lengthen one's life. Because through iron, people hurt each other and kill each other, shalom. And so therefore, the vision of Ezekiel was not just about the seed, not just about the siege, but it was about the seed of the total destruction of the temple. But we went further and we said, it's not only about the seed of the destruction, but it's also about planting the seed for the coming of Mashiach. Every descent is for the purpose of an ascent, and so in this initial descent of the tent of Tevis, what it's really about is not only the future destruction, it's about the future of the third Beis Hamikdash. It says in the Gemara that if a person causes peace between a husband and wife, between people, so then nothing could hurt that person. Why? If the altar, which causes peace between us and God, you're not allowed to put metal upon it. You put something upon that could damage someone. How much more so if someone causes peace among people? For sure, no harm will befall that person. So iron represents something that can cause harm. And that's only nowadays. What does it say when Mashiach will come? It says they will beat their weapons into plowshares.
Why is iron different than gold? And Rabbi Golden said a few days ago in the Tanya, it says gold can either be used as a beautifying thing for the Mizbeach, or it could be a golden calf. The same thing would be said for an iron. Iron could be a frying pan, or it could be to hit chas v'shalom somebody over the head.
It's a good question.
It says the same thing can be applied to the racks of the Mizbeach, with the stone. Why are we applying it?
I guess the primary usage of it's unique. It's unique in that it's able to accomplish this. It's unique in able to hurt people. But on the other hand, in other words, it has a unique ability to do this. Unlike gold, where it says that gold is unique in that it was meant for the temple. The whole reason gold was created was in order to beautify the temple. The says, as the world wasn't deserving of gold, why did God give us the gold? It was just to beautify the temple. You probably heard the story about the guy who read his obituary. I don't remember his name. Maybe you remember his name. The one guy who built dynamite. And so
it was Alfred Nobel.
Alfred Nobel, thank you. And so his brother died. And when his brother died, they wrote in the newspaper that he died by mistake.
Huh.
And they wrote something about like the doctor of death or something. They wrote something because he created dynamite. Yeah. And so he decided that he doesn't want to be remembered that way. And that's why he started the Nobel Prize. And to promote goodness and stuff. So yeah, definitely could be used in every way, but in this, until the Yetzer Hara is gone, the Yetzer Hara is also compared to iron. The Yetzer Hara is gone, it is used to hurt people, and that's the chiddush, the novelty of Mashiach's something that beautifies you on Shabbos. Can you wear them outside? Are they considered clothing? And it says Mashiach will come. All these things that are used to hurt people will be used to help people. So, and the Rebbe said we already see this nowadays, how all the funding that's being used Rebbe spoke about this during the agreement between Gorbachev and Bush, or was it Reagan? About using a lot of what happened over here? Using funding for that was meant for nuclear. Not nuclear. It was meant for enhancing the things to hurt people. Instead, using it for agriculture. There was a lot of funding that was diverted then, that was transformed to be used for as something positive. Death will be swallowed up forever. There won't be any tears, and there'll no longer be a something that is used in a negative way. So when Mashiach comes, the Rebbe says, not only will iron be used outside the temple to prepare things to be brought into the temple as it was in the other temples, but iron will be part of the temple. The iron wasn't part of the previous temples, but it will be part of the actual building of the third temple. It says, for example, in the there was a little bit of iron in the, to prepare the stones, but no actual iron was put into the temple. On the other hand, the Marzu, he says that they were in the courtyards. They used all that iron, but the question is, where do you see so much iron in the courtyards? So, but that's only regarding the first temple. Regarding the third temple, Ezekiel's vision of the third temple, we don't have a clear vision of the third temple. Because we don't have a clear vision of the third temple, so there's room to say that yes, there will be iron used in that temple. Although it doesn't say clearly that's what's going to happen, it's logical that since iron is what's unique about the third temple, as learned yesterday, is the transformation, negative to positive, so the iron will be a major part of it. By the second temple, there was something called kala erev. Kala erev means there was this iron thing on top of it to scare birds away.
Maybe a lightning rod.
Huh?
Maybe a lightning rod. Oh no, there was little sharp spikes.
Sharp spikes on top of it, right. By the first temple, they didn't need to have that. Why need to have it? Because it was so holy, the birds weren't going on it. The second temple wasn't, in a way, as holy. On the other hand, the second temple had an advantage over the first temple, as it says in the Talmud that it was larger, and it was there for a long amount of time, representing how the second temple was about elevating the physical world, and therefore it did address the negativity. It did address the fact that it had something in it to scare the birds away. Means that it was more connected to the physical world. It was more connected to the circumstances of the world. It was more about elevating the physical world. But still, iron wasn't the major component. There was also something that was used in the second temple. When the Hashmonaim came there, it says that they replaced the golden menorah with a metal menorah that was coated in wood. So there was wood there, there was metal there, but very little. And by the third temple, on the other hand, there's room to say there's going to be a major component of the temple will be iron, because this is they're presenting the transformation of the negative to the positive. Okay, and this is very relevant to the idea of the 10th of Tevis. The 10th of Tevis, again, is not just about the seed of the destruction, but it's about the eternal Geula. So the 10th of Tevis is the 10th day of the 10th month. Good morning. The 10th is the 10th from the month of Nisan. Nisan is the time we left Egypt, the month of our redemption. And in the 10th month itself, it's the 10th day of the 10th month. So the number 10 is very associated with Mashiach, because it says when Mashiach will come, we're going to have the 10th red heifer. We're going to sing the 10th song. The Jewish people sang in history, not just the Jewish people, but there were 9 songs sung till Mashiach's coming. Mashiach comes, we're going to sing the 10th one. The Jewish people were counted 9 times. We counted the 10th time Mashiach comes.
So if we start singing the 9 songs now, is that kind of like...
You should start singing the 10th song. The Rebbe said once that the 10th going, okay. So the events of the 10th of Tevis are, and the iron that was used to represent those events are about also not just about the destruction, but also about the eternal nature of the third Beis Hamikdash. That's something which it's like iron that will last forever, and it's brought about through the Jewish people being like iron in the exile and cleaving to God, no matter what kind of disturbances and things are happening. So this will bring us to the coming of Mashiach. The 10th day, the 10th month represents the coming of Mashiach. The 10th song, the 10th counting, the 10th red heifer, the 10 lands. Israel, until now, we've only had 7 lands of Israel, but there are 3 more that we will only get when Mashiach will come. There's also a harp that is used in the Beis Hamikdash, when Mashiach will come, that until now had 7,
8.
and it says Shechem says it'll have 8.
Seven to
However,
eight, 7 to 8.
but it also says in other places Ali Asar. Ali Asar. What's Ali Asar mean? Okay, is that referring to the harp or something else? What's Ali Asar mean? I don't know. Okay, I thought it was some kind of instrument as well. I don't know. Either way, so the 10th is associated with coming Mashiach. Furthermore, what's Tevis have to do with Mashiach? It says about the month of Tevis, this is a month when the body has pleasure from the body. On the surface, this is referring to Esther. Esther was taken to the kingdom of Achashverosh in the 10th month, the month of Tevis, and Achashverosh was favored Esther partially because of the timing that the Esther was in the palace, because this is the month, says the Talmud, when the body has pleasure from the body. Look at note 114. The simple meaning of the body having pleasure from the body is the idea of intimacy. Intimacy is a source of pregnancy and the source of birth. What did we say before? We said before that the 10th of Tevis is 7 months away from the 9th of Av, the birth of Mashiach. It says that when the Romans entered the temple, they saw the cherubs facing each other. The cherubs facing each other is a sign that God favors us, that God is happy with us. And the question is, why were the cherubs facing each other when the destruction was happening? The simple answer is although externally there was a destruction, but it says in the Talmud that halacha, not just in the Talmud, the halacha is that before a husband goes on a journey, he must be with his wife. So in a similar way, before the Jewish people were sent on the journey of the exile, they had to be remembered. They had chayav unlifkedes ishtay. God had an obligation to be close with us. He externally there was destruction, but internally, beneath the scenes, what was happening was there was expression of God's love for us, and I want to give you Mashiach. It looks externally it's destruction, but what Hashem is really saying to us then is love. I want to give you something much better than what you have here. This is not what it's about. So just like the beginning of Mashiach's birth is 9th of Av, when the cherubs face each other, so too the 10th of Tevis, the month when the body has benefit from the body, has pleasure from the body. This is a time when, so to speak, God had so to speak, a intimate moment with the Jewish people at the time that when the siege is being laid on Jerusalem. That's only externally, but deep down, what's going on really is that there is a unique connection that Hashem is establishing between us at that very moment. So the body having pleasure from the body. What does that mean in regarding to God and the Jewish people? Go back to page Chafei, line number 1. The body, so to speak, in heaven. What does the body in heaven mean? The word body refers to the essence of Hashem. Why does the word body refer to the essence of Hashem? Hashem has no body. The reason why the word body, I think, refers to the essence of Hashem is because the word body also means the essence of something. Like the Talmud uses the expression gufei Torah, the certain bodies of Torah information. So the essence of Hashem, not the light of Hashem, not the revelation of Hashem, not the worlds that God created, but the essence of Hashem. The word body means the essence of God. He has pleasure from the body of every single Jew. This is especially relevant to the month of Tevis, the winter months, where there aren't holidays, where there's just like there's no sunlight. Los Angeles usually we could say there is, but no, there isn't. Baruch Hashem, this week we have a good representation of what we're talking about. There's no, it's not like in the summertime where there's more warmth. The fact there's no warmth physically means in the summertime it says that there's Passover and the Shavuos, there's 2 holidays, and the impact of these 2 holidays is that spiritually it's easier to serve Hashem in the summertime. On the other hand, in the wintertime, the fact that it's frigid also represents that there's some kind of challenge that you're experiencing, that you have to exert yourself to connect to Hashem. So the Eibishter Hashem, Yakar Bein Hashem Hashem has a special pleasure from when a Jew pushes his will aside to the will of Hashem. So when is Haguf Nenem and Haguf, the body has pleasure from the body, that means that the essence of Hashem has a pleasure from a Jew using his body to serve Hashem, meaning it's not that when we're especially romantic, like the time of Pesach and Shavuos, when there is a lot of light and revelation, and you're serving Hashem because of the revelation. Rather, it's your body. You're putting one foot in front of the other, do what Hashem wants you to do. So Yokar Bein Hashem Chasidim. That was mentioned this verse, but there's a saying by Chassidim. Simple translation of the verse is, it's grievous, it's weighty, it's heavy in God's eyes when his pious ones are killed. But another meaning of this is, it's precious in God's eyes when a Jew unfortunately has to push himself to serve Hashem, and he does, even though it's hard. That causes a special pleasure to Hashem. This is a time when the body has pleasure from the body. The essence of Hashem has pleasure from every single Jew. So this is true in the exile, but mainly this is what Mashiach is about. Mashiach will come. It's not just that we're going to put one in front of the other, do what Hashem wants. We're going to see how the body has a higher source than the neshama. As we went earlier, that the matriarchs had a higher source than the patriarchs, and the maidservants had a higher source even than the matriarchs, and so to the body has a higher source than the neshama. So Mashiach comes, we're going to see how the body itself is chosen by Hashem and has a higher and deeper connection than the neshama. Mashiach will come, the body will nourish the soul. And more atzmos, the essence of Hashem, will, so to speak, have pleasure from the body. What that means is that it will be revealed the divine source of the body, how the body itself is godly. This is connected to what you were asking yesterday, I believe, about when Mashiach comes, there'll be a concealment, there won't be concealment. And the answer is that it will be revealed the source of the concealment, which has many parts to it. Number one is that in order for a teacher to teach a student, to bring the information down to the student, he has to be a more gifted teacher to bring it down to a student who is less capable. To bring down something down to a college level doesn't require as great of a teacher to bring it down to a first grader. And so the ability to bring it down, the Gemara says, only Rav Meir had the power to give parables. Rav Meir was the most gifted Torah scholar. He was the one able to give parables. So the tzimtzum, Hashem's hiding his light, that power of tzimtzum comes from a deeper and power of godliness. It's easier, so to speak. It's a lower power. The power to create darkness has a higher source than the power to create light. So Mashiach comes, we're going to see the power of the tzimtzum, the benefit, the power of the source of the tzimtzum. How the tzimtzum expresses God's ability to hide himself. How that shows God's infinity. When you see the infinite power of Hashem in creating the tzimtzum, in a similar way, the teacher has an infinite power of bringing down an abstract concept in the most earthy kind of parable. In a similar way, we're also going to see the power of the body. We're going to see how the body, unlike the neshama, which has a natural connection to godliness, the neshama is called, so to speak, God's child. It's obvious and it's holy. It loves Hashem. You don't see so much the idea of God choosing the neshama, but a choice is really something that comes from the essence of someone. When you choose something, where is it? Chassidus says a choice that you make, a free choice, and not because of the benefit of that specific thing, but you making a choice when things aren't, when there's two ways to go and there's nothing pulling you in either direction. Why do you choose one over the other? It has to do with you. It has to do with your essence. So the neshama has an advantage in that it loves Hashem, has reverence for Hashem, it's God's child. But you don't see in the neshama the idea of God's choice as much because of its virtues. The body, on the other hand, because the body doesn't have all these virtues, why did God choose the body? It's because of God. The neshama is also chosen by God. But you don't see in the neshama so much God's choice. Where do you see the choice of God? You see the choice of God specific in the body because it doesn't have any external things that make it look good. So you see more the fact that Hashem chose. That's why it says in Shulchan Aruch, when we say the words before Shema, and God chose us from all nations, we're supposed to remember that God chose us at Mount Sinai. It says in Tanya, what did God choose? Says the Alter Rebbe, it shows our bodies which look like, which are similar to non-Jewish bodies, no different in the Jewish body and non-Jewish body. And that's why you see more in the Jewish body the idea that God chose us. In the Neshama, you don't see a choice. Of course, the Neshama is beloved. So when Mashiach will come, we're going to see how the essence of Hashem has a relationship to the body of the Jew. And therefore, it says Mashiach will come, the body, Hashem, the essence of Hashem, will have benefit from the body of every Jew. He will have pleasure. It will be revealed the godliness of, and not just the godliness, but the superior connection to godliness the body has more than the Neshama. Okay, line number 6. This is especially relevant this year. When the 10th of Teves falls out on a Tuesday. Tuesday is a day which is, the Torah says about Tuesday, it's a day of double good. Besides the fact that this week, the elevation of 10th of Teves is on Shabbos, and Shabbos, precedes the 15th of Teves when the moon is full. So that means the perfection of the month of Teves is associated with this week as well. Because the week is elevated, the 10th of Teves is elevated to Shabbos, which is right before the 15th, which is the highest point of the month. Besides that, the 10th of Teves falls out on a Tuesday. Why is Tuesday relevant? Why does it say about Tuesday it's a day of double good? What was so good about Tuesday? By the way, doesn't it feel like Monday every day this week? Or just me? Anyways. Why did God say twice it was good on the third day of creation? It was because God created on the third day of creation, He created trees. He created seeds that produce vegetation, that will produce more trees and produce more fruit. So the idea of Hashem planting a seed is very relevant to what we're just talking about. Look at line number 13. This is very relevant to Tuesday when the 10th of Teves occurs this year. When the year is set up this way, you see how the 10th of Teves is about planting the seeds for redemption. How the beginning of the destruction is the beginning of the Geula. It's the beginning of the redemption. Just like when you plant a seed, planting the seed includes within that moment the whole growth of the tree is from the planting of the seed. It's known the exile is compared to planting a seed, which as it says in the Torah, God says, I will plant for myself in the earth. It's referring to the exile. God will plant the Jewish people in the earth, in the exile. And through this, by planting us in the earth, planting us in the exile, there'll be a huge produce. Why does a person plant? He only plants because he wants to produce so much more. And not just so much more, it's not just that a few seeds produce a whole field, but more that that field produces more seeds, that produce more fruit, that produce fruit until it doesn't stop. Goes on forever. So too, the idea of Tuesday, Hashem planting the seed, is very relevant to the 10th of Teves. Hashem beginning the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash wasn't just the beginning of the destruction, it was planting the seed for the future of the everlasting goodness of Mashiach. So the double good of Tuesday isn't just about the planting the seed, it's about the goodness of the true and complete Geula, the goodness of the building of the Beis Hamikdash, the eternal Geula, the eternal Beis Hamikdash, the third Geula, the third Beis Hamikdash. The Tuesday is the third day of the week, and it is a day when Hashem planted the seed for the third Geula, the third Beis Hamikdash, and the coming Mashiach is also called in Kabbalah and Chassidus the third day. There's a verse that says on the third day God will lift us to live before Him. That's referring to the time of the resurrection of the dead. So number 3, Tuesday, the day when Hashem planted the seed for fruits, is also the emblematic of what the 10th of Teves is about, planting the seed, not just of the destruction, but of planting the seed for the Geula. Any questions or comments? What do we do today in short? In short, today we learned was the meaning of Teves, the meaning of the 10th of Teves, the meaning of Tuesday. What do we say Tevis is about? Tevis is about when the body has pleasure from the body, and it's about the coming of Mashiach, when God will have pleasure from our physical part of the Jew, the body. Number 10, 10 of 10, this 10th of Tevis is the 10th day of the 10th month, is emblematic of the coming Mashiach, which has the 10th song, and the 10th song, and the 10th counting, and the 10th red heifer, and the 10 lands of Israel. And Tuesday is the day when Hashem planted the seeds of all vegetation, representing how the 10th of Tevis wasn't just the beginning of the planting the seed of the destruction, but planting the seed of the growth, the fruit of the coming Mashiach. Any questions? No? We got it? We're good? All right.
Okay.